The zombie king on the moon suddenly exerted force. The next second, the aircraft carrier then headed towards the Earth again. Along with the aircraft carrier came the zombie king's raging anger. Zombie, who saw this scene, immediately jumped in place. With a loud bang, he quickly rushed towards the zombie king. But at this moment, the zombie king suddenly dove into the interior of the aircraft carrier. I saw it continuously destroying the device on the nuclear reactor. Just at the moment when Zombie had just arrived on the aircraft carrier, a loud noise instantly spread across the entire continent. Lily and the others who saw this scene were shouting for help. However, as the mushroom cloud slowly dissipated in the sky, Zombie landed safely and unharmed on the warship. Then he started taunting, saying that this level of damage is so light that it's like scratching an itch for him. The zombie king, upon hearing this, is completely speechless at this moment. Then he began to gather all his strength throughout his entire body. The next second, his arm quickly extended towards Zombie. Just an instant, Zombie was hit onto a high-rise building. At this moment, Zombie King said, "Since none of you can defeat each other, why don't we just cooperate and destroy the world together?" Meanwhile, on the general's side, after witnessing the terrifying power of the Zombie King, he then started persuading us to run away quickly. "I know your zombie is very powerful after transforming, but it's not a solution to keep fighting like this." However, he had not finished speaking. The beaver beside him interrupted and said, "Who said our zombie can only transform once?" The general who heard this was shocked. He didn't expect that Zombie actually has a third form. The scene returned to Zombie. He stood up from the ruins and said, "I have no interest in destroying the world. Actually, I would prefer to live in peace with humans. Only rookies in this world would want to destroy it every day." The Zombie King, who heard these words, was speechless for a while. He didn't expect that Zombie, as a zombie, would still want to be friends with humans. Just as he was pondering over it, Zombie suddenly transformed again. His originally dull skin began to peel off slowly, with a roar from him. The next second, Zombie had transformed into a fair-skinned young man. Lanchi and the others who saw this scene were filled with confusion. What is this? Is he a human or a zombie after all? On the other side, D-Dog was also fierce. He slapped General's face and said, "Look quickly. This is the true strength of our zombie." When General saw the handsome young man on the tall building, he suddenly looked incredulous. He said, "No way. Zombie has become a human?" Just then, a strange phenomenon occurred in the sky. In less than 5 minutes, it started to rain around them. And seeing Zombie transform into the Zombie King, he was also very confused. He thought to himself, "Am I really fighting a human?" And then it continued to rush forward, wanting to find out the truth. But watching its fist, when it was about to hit Zombie in the face, the space around suddenly underwent a strange change, only to see the raindrops that were falling at this moment. They seemed to have frozen in midair. At this moment, Zombie suddenly raised his hand and waved. The next second, the body of the Zombie King was instantly divided into countless pieces. At the same time, the raindrops also flew back in reverse. Not only that, even Zoe and the others were floating in the air. Even various types of fish in the sea were affected. At this point, only half of it remained. The Zombie King's face was filled with fear. It had never imagined that the difference between itself and Zombie would be so great. At this moment, Zombie slowly approached and said, "When I was the Zombie King, you didn't even know where to drink milk." Nobody saw it coming. Aliens actually came to destroy the Earth. But just at the moment the spaceship landed on Earth. But it was blocked by a nondescript teenager outside. Not long ago, when Zombie was transforming into the third phase form, just a casual raising of a hand just cut the Zombie King into countless pieces. Even the surrounding gravity has changed. At this moment, a huge vortex appeared in the sky. Lily, who saw the scene, had an incredulous expression on her face. Meanwhile, Zoe and Lanchi next to them also fell from the air. It turned out that Zombie's spell had ended. The gravity around them returned to normal. Zoe was dumbfounded at this moment. Is this really a power that a zombie can possess? A whale weighing over 100 tons fell heavily from the sky onto a tall building. Dr. Jamin, who witnessed the scene, was also shocked. It was the first time he had seen this type of zombie. At this moment, the green-haired guy nearby said, "Jamin, these zombies have surpassed our understanding. Shall we run away quickly?" However, at this moment, the dismembered zombie king still refuses to give up. Just then, it leaped up from the ground. Then it loudly exclaimed, "Restore!" The next second, his separated body began to reassemble. Once his body returned to normal, he arrogantly said, "As the zombie king, the most basic thing is to be immortal. What you are doing cannot defeat me." The zombie who heard this just gave a quiet, "Oh!" Immediately, he raised his hand and waved again. The zombie king was then pinched by the zombie at the neck. Looking at the zombie king being picked up by itself like a chick, Zombie said disdainfully, "Do you have any misunderstandings about death? In fact, eternal life is the most painful." The zombie king was visibly startled by these words, and it hadn't even had a chance to refute. The next moment, he saw Zombie's terrifying eyes. In an instant, the consciousness of the zombie king arrived in a strange environment. At this moment, above the Earth's sky, countless giant aircraft carriers appeared. And on one of the main ships, a command was given by an alien wearing a mecha suit. Countless mecha warriors then began to advance towards Earth. This is already the 6th time human civilization has been destroyed. But he hadn't even had a chance to be happy. Just saw a mysterious person on Earth suddenly transform. The next second, all their aircraft carriers were instantly engulfed in flames. And at that moment, the mysterious person had unknowingly already arrived in outer space. Only to see that the zombie king is in great pain. Soon after, the zombie king stopped moving in Zombie's hands. Everyone is welcome to guess in the comments section. What will Zombie do with this zombie king? Bring your popcorn and beer. Zombie has returned to its original cute image. However, Zoe and Lily still dare not to get close. Zombie recently transformed into 3rd phase form. Just a single glance scared Zombie King to the point of rolling his eyes. While Zoe, watching the battle from afar, they still didn't know what had happened. They only saw the Zombie King being grabbed by Zombie around the neck, and instantly fell silent. Just then, Zombie suddenly released his grip. The next second, the Zombie King fell straight down from the rooftop. After a loud bang, the Zombie King was completely lifeless. General, who witnessed the scene, had an incredulous expression on his face. Bieber, who was next to them, explained, "It was probably scared unconscious by the Majesty's 3rd form." And far away, Dr. Jamin was also very confused. He never expected that the Zombie King he had devoted himself to researching would be scared to death like this. At this moment, green-haired guy embraced him and said loudly, "Jamin, let's go quickly." But he hadn't finished speaking yet. Zombie had already arrived by his side. The green-haired guy and the others were instantly dumbfounded at this moment. "We have never met before. How does it know we are here?" He looked at Zombie with a displeased expression on his face. Green-haired guy was instantly scared and collapsed on the ground. At this moment, Zombie said, "Are you going to surrender, or do you want to go to hell together and meet the Zombie King?" Upon hearing this, the few people immediately raised their hands and said, "We surrender." Shamin behind them was reluctant. But at this moment, he could only grit his teeth and give up resistance. That's it. The Dr. Jamin who caused harm was finally captured alive by the Abnormal Entity Academy. After everything was done, Lily and Zoe saw Zombie squatting there, lost in thought. It turns out that at this moment, Zombie has transformed back into that silly and cute appearance. At this moment, Zoe asked Lily to go over and ask. She even said that if successful, she would make her the vice president in the future. Lily was originally unwilling, but Zoe gave her a push from behind. Reluctant Lily could only grit her teeth and walk over to greet Zombie. At that moment, Zombie suddenly stood up abruptly, startling Lily beside him. However, at this moment, Zombie simply said that he wanted a piece of clothing that wouldn't tear. Lily, who heard these words, finally breathed a sigh of relief. It seems that the current zombie has no danger at all. She then walked and said at the same time, "Do you remember what just happened?" Zombie, upon hearing this, rubbed his chin and said, "The memories are a bit fuzzy. But that strange guy, I must have beaten up many before." The scene once again shifts back to the Abnormal Entity Academy, only to see the green-haired guy on the escort vehicle. He looks at the side, with a strange expression on his face. Originally, at this moment, Jamin Bodo is smiling with an evil look on his face. He said, "Hee, I never expected such a powerful species like the zombie. I must obtain your genes and create an even more powerful being than you." Bring your popcorn and beer. Zombie's wish has finally come true. Not only has he provided a peaceful and prosperous life for his zombie citizens, even the human military lined up to escort them. Not long ago, after Jamin Bo was caught by Zombie, it was appointed by humans as the president of a club. At the same time, it was also given the right to manage a city. But Zombie said, "Can you give me City H where Dr. Jamin was before?" The leaders who heard this were suddenly stunned. What's good about that place? However, Zombie insisted on his own choice. At the same time, he also said he would definitely manage City H well. That's it. Zombie not only became the president, but also received the appointment letter for City H. But when Abnormal Entity Academy found out about this news, they were immediately filled with anger. Zoe sitting beside him was also very annoyed. She said Zombie really can't understand what it's thinking. Turns out Zombie wanted City H because it has thousands of residents. To help them move as quickly as possible, Zombie also instructed the military and club to provide street protection. At this moment, Zombie on the high-rise building watched with satisfaction as his zombie citizens were being assisted. At this time, Bieber stepped forward to report, "Zombie, as per your request, all of the zombie citizens have been moved over." He said, "Very good. Now they finally have their own home." Suddenly, the human legion began to train in the city. The little zombie who saw this scene immediately said, "They won't shoot us with guns, will they?" One of the soldiers then said, "Since you are President Zombie's zombie citizen, you will be the ones we need to protect in the future." The little zombie who heard this was suddenly speechless. He thought that humans' brains were not quite right. And at this moment on the rooftop, Zombie's sidekicks were also extremely excited. They never thought that zombies would actually have their own city. At this time, Zombie said that the continuation of a race doesn't necessarily have to involve war. Having said that, it left the rooftop without looking back. Bieber saw the boss was about to leave, and immediately hurriedly said, "Zoe has been hanging for half a month. Can we let him down now?" Upon hearing this, Zombie waved his hand and said, "Let him continue hanging." Poor Sawi looked so wrong being hung in front of the municipal building. He said, "Zombie, I was wrong. I won't dare anymore. I'm almost roasted into a zombie sausage." "Zombie, please let me go. I promise I won't dare anymore next time." That's it. Mr. Zombie Season 1 comes to an end here. Manhwa Station is here to thank everyone for their continuous support. The next is a preview of Season 2. Zoe is attacked by a mysterious creature. The powerful force directly disabled her. After finally regaining consciousness, she discovered the one attacking her was actually Lily, who had always been timid and cautious. More exciting plots. See you in the next video. she can not only rotate her head 360 degrees. Even more impressively, she can continue to regenerate after being split in half. Not long ago, Lily aimed to obtain the position of vice president. She actually challenged Zoe, who is the president, for the position. And Zoe was also caught off guard. Lily, after the mutation, unexpectedly exhibited an extraordinarily high level of combat power. Just a simple collision ended up causing quite a significant internal injury to oneself. At this moment, Lily sarcastically said, "Zoe's senior sister, I haven't used my full strength yet." Zoe couldn't bear to hear that. She immediately teleported behind Lily. But at that moment, Lily's head suddenly did a 360-degree spin. This startled Zoe, who was just about to launch a sneak attack. Immediately, she hurriedly did a backflip. With both hands on the ground, she asked, "Are you still human?" However, she hadn't finished speaking. Lily had already turned around and raised the machine gun in her hand. Zoe, who saw this scene, hurriedly retreated backward. Soon after, she heard the sound of the machine gun firing. She said, "Ha ha ha! Senior sister Zoe! Now I feel like I could also be the president." Zoe, who heard these words, immediately got angry. She then quickly stomped her feet for extra push. She then rushed towards Lily like a sharp arrow. With her domineering crosswise strike, Lily's machine gun instantly turned into scrap metal. But the tough Lily, unwilling to give up, sarcastically said, "Is this all the ability you've got, senior sister?" But she hadn't finished what she was about to say. Zoe immediately chopped her in half with a single stroke. Zoe, who witnessed the scene, was suddenly shocked. Why didn't she dodge? Lily, who was split in half, was not only unafraid. Instead, she even laughed out loud. Soon, a bizarre scene unfolded. The body that had been split in half surprisingly began to slowly regenerate. In no time, Lily was back to normal as if nothing had happened. At this moment, Zoe was utterly shocked. She couldn't help but wonder what Zombie had done to Lily. At this moment, Lily spoke again, saying, "How about it? With my current abilities, becoming a president shouldn't be a problem, right?" After saying that, she suddenly threw a punch towards Zoe. With a loud bang, Zoe was immediately knocked flying and lost all ability to fight back against the wall. Seeing Zoe losing, Lily quickly transformed back into her human form. She said, "Zoe, are you okay? Did I go a little too hard just now?" She asked you to tell her the truth. "Did you turn into a zombie after being bitten by Zombie?" She said no. "Didn't we just have a checkup in the lab yesterday? All of my cells in my body are completely normal." Zoe said, "What about your 360-degree turn and the situation with your body's recovery and regeneration?" Upon hearing this, Lily immediately explained, "She said that she can now completely control her transformation freely, and especially when she is feeling down. She can also inject stimulants to enhance the effect, and stimulants without any side effects." Zoe, who heard this, was speechless for a moment. She thought to herself, "I really wish I could have such a strong transformation effect too." She immediately pulled Lily away, and then prepared to find Zombie to let him bite her as well. Zombie bit someone again unexpectedly. The girl who was bitten not only didn't get angry, she instead had a look of enjoyment on her face. Not long ago, Zoe witnessed Lily's ability to transform. She immediately boarded a plane and rushed to City H. And at this moment, inside the City Hall, Zombie is assigning tasks to the sidekicks. First is the financial power of City H. Zombie's first thought was Beaver. He said, "From today on, you are the director of the Finance Bureau. The money at home will be managed by you in the future." As soon as his words fell, the door of the meeting room was slammed open. Looking at Zoe panting, Zombie curiously asked if there were any instructions. However, before he could finish his sentence, he saw Zoe running towards him in a great hurry. just as Zombie still looked confused. Zoe suddenly opened his mouth. Then she forcibly made Zombie bite her. After he bit her, Zoe left the meeting room without looking back. But she had just left the city hall. The assistant hurriedly ran up to remind. He said, "Zoe, President, you are too reckless. Have you forgotten that Zombie can control others' thoughts? What if he controls you to do something that can only be seen on OnlyFans?" However, Zoe, upon hearing this, not only did not regret, but also said that she would not mind having such power. "Even if he controls me to be the girlfriend of people who already hit the like button, I don't mind." But what they don't know is that Zombie is currently in a confused state. However, under his careful planning, City H finally started to get back on track slowly. Zombie citizens are living and working in peace and contentment at the same time. They have also developed a variety of shops. For example, a barber shop run by zombies themselves. Or a zombie real estate company. Even zombie driving schools have started to open. It's just that taking a driver's license test is a bit difficult for zombies. At this moment, Zombie is looking at his city with a sense of relief. The dream of so many years has finally come true. But what he doesn't know is that a bigger crisis is quietly looming. Only to see a one-eyed woman holding Zombie's information and studying it. She wonders why Abnormal Entity Academy would choose such a person as mayor. At this time, the secretary beside her stepped forward and said, "Inspector Clara, I heard from the chief president of Steel Academy that Zombie seems to be a zombie." The one-eyed woman who heard this, however, was not convinced and said, "They are constantly slandering each other in the academies. We've seen it all before. Although I don't believe they would let a zombie become the mayor, I really don't like this one called Zombie. Let's go. We'll know once we go to City H and see what this zombie is all about." Bring your popcorn and beer. Mr. Zombie picks up a hot girl again. She's not only a perfect 10. She even seems to have a blood feud with Zombie. Not long ago, above a glacier in the Arctic, a helicopter suddenly flew through with a thudding sound. Furthermore, humans also dispatched a giant cruise ship. Shortly after, the expedition team arrived at the destination of this journey. At this moment, doctors said that it was rumored that ancient remains had been discovered here. And I heard the exploration team say that the remains are buried 500 meters deep under the cold ice. If this time we can pull her out intact, it would indeed be a great discovery. Just like that, with the help of a crane, the body was quickly lifted up. As an archaeologist, this was also his first time discovering such a presence. As the crane slowly pulled the ice block out from underground, a faint figure also emerged. Finally, it appeared in front of everyone. From the appearance, it looks like a young girl. Just as Dr. Chad was stunned by this discovery. His assistant next to him suddenly had their mouth covered by someone. Then, that person bit him on the neck. The doctor who saw the scene was suddenly shocked. But before he could react, he was kicked to the ground by another person. So it turns out the mysterious organization that ambushed them. And their standard. The frozen corpse turned out to be the man at the forefront who smashed the ice block with an ice pick. Then, a strange scene unfolded. The originally withered corpse was seen to. This moment but came back to life. The vampire beside her saw the situation and hastily draped their own coat over her. Then, they knelt before the woman and loudly said, "We pay our respects to the vampire King Majesty, and wish for his majesty to remain forever young and youthful." The vampire king who heard these words did not have many thoughts. Instead, he spoke directly. "Is that idiot with the last name Ren still alive now? What on earth made Zombie change forms instantly?" Not long ago, Zombie was leisurely drinking afternoon tea in City H. But he was suddenly urgently summoned by Zoe to the headquarters of the academy. All because something strange happened at the main campus. A research scientist mutated during an exploration in the Arctic, killing all the team members. Zoe and Lanchi, who witnessed the scene, were also very confused. They said, This guy doesn't even look like a zombie. They had no choice but to seek out Zombie, a professional in this field. Soon, Zombie arrived at the city of Tech. But as soon as he entered the door, he was shocked by the scene in front of him. Simply because not a single person here is normal. Just at this moment, a man with a stick came in front of Zombie and said, "Hello. I am President Harvey from Steel Stick Academy. I heard that you captured Dr. Jamin." Zombie immediately stepped forward to shake hands with him and said, "That's right." But they had just separated. President Harvey just sneered and thought to himself, "Indeed, just a newbie not worth my effort." But just when the other president thought Zombie was a total weakling. The president of the Steel Club, however, hid in a corner by himself, complaining, "If I had known he was here, I wouldn't have come even if I were rotting at home." The scene shifts back to Zombie. At this moment, he has already arrived at the laboratory. However, when it comes to species identification, Zombie is clearly also at a loss. But when he saw the two holes on the person's neck, his long-lost memories suddenly surged back to him. Zoe, who was next to him, stepped forward and asked, "What do you think? Did you notice anything?" Just then, the researcher suddenly let out a roar. But when he saw Zombie's face, he instantly became docile again. It turned out that Zombie had already transformed into second phase form at this time. He said, Quite interesting. I never thought it would be the vampire clan." After saying that, a terrifying aura began to erupt from his body. Just a moment later, Lanchi and the others were all blasted out. At this moment, Zombie said, "I remember. Wasn't this race supposed to have been extinct long ago?" Meanwhile, on an island in the Arctic, a man knelt to the ground and said, "Reporting to His Majesty, Zombie is not only alive, but also living a colorful life. I remember he destroyed the last human civilization, but now he is living among humans again." Upon hearing this, the vampire king became furious. She said, "Very well. I might feel a little lonely without you around. But this time, I will definitely not lose to you again." What could have made Zombie furrow his brow like that? Just now, Zombie frowned upon discovering the appearance of the vampire clan. Instantly transformed into second phase form. The terrifying momentum directly blasted many presidents away. Especially the president of Stick Club. He was almost shaken with internal injuries. Then, when everyone still looked puzzled. At this moment, Zombie suddenly said, "Interesting. I remember the vampire clan should have been wiped out by me 1,000 years ago, right?" After saying that, he grabbed the researcher by the throat. He said, "Come on. Tell me who likes to drug me. Where is Zarina who drugged me?" He has just turned into a vampire. He wouldn't know the whereabouts of the vampire king either. Failed to get the information he wanted. Zombie then returned to his original form. And at this moment in the hall, the president of Stick Club still doesn't think that the recent turn of events was caused by Zombie. Only the president of Steel Club hiding on the side is looking terrified, thinking, "I should have just stayed at home and not gone out." At that moment, Zombie finally walked out of the room. Zoe and the others hurriedly approached. They asked, "Did you make any special discoveries?" Zombie said, "It's best for you all not to go out these days." Having said that, he started frowning and remained motionless. Zoe and Lily, who saw this scene, felt something was amiss. But the next second, Zombie touched his head and said he had already forgotten what just happened. He said, "There's no way." Zombie always forgets something when switching forms. And on the other side at a villa nearby, in an alley overgrown with spider webs. At this moment, Vampire King Zarina had a speechless expression on her face. Just at this moment, a coin suddenly fell next to them with a clang. It turned out that the indigenous people mistook them for beggars and generously gave them a coin. Upon seeing this scene, Leon immediately picked up the money with gleaming eyes. But at this time, the Vampire King was not happy. She said, "You all look like this now. Why did you wake me up?" But she hadn't finished her sentence. The girl beside her cried out, "Woo! Your Majesty, do you know how we've lived for the past 1,000 years? After losing the great battle with Zombie all those years ago, our vampire clan had no place to stand anymore. I and Leon only survived his deadly hands by playing dead. From that moment on, we started hiding everywhere. In such narrow alleys, we all didn't know exactly how many years we had stayed." Vampire King was instantly angered upon hearing this. She said she didn't expect the vampire clan to have fallen into such a miserable state. But then she sighed and said, "Even if you summon me out, it's useless, because I can't beat Zombie at all." At this moment, Leon suddenly interjected, "The Majesty, the reason we awakened you is because we have received important information. We have discovered a special human. Perhaps he can help you defeat Zombie." The girl next to him also agreed and said, "That's right. That person may bring us hope." The Vampire King was immediately interested when he heard this. He then immediately asked who it was. At this moment, Leon pulled out a wanted poster from his pocket. He said, "Yes, it's him. It's Dr. Jamin, who was arrested and thrown into the prison. This is a prison hidden 3,000 meters underground. It is equipped not only with various high-tech weapons, but also guarded by a president at the entrance of each level. Yet, such a prison is merely used to detain an ordinary person. It turns out that it was awakened after the queen of the vampire clan from 1,000 years ago. But it was found that the archenemy from once past has not died until now. Fortunately, her subordinates say there is one. Humans can help her defeat Zombie. And this person is that one. Created the Zombie King generation, Jamin Bo 2. However, Dr. Jamin is currently imprisoned." Zombie, who saw the scene, couldn't help but say, "Why don't you just take care of him directly?" Zoe said, "We can't kill him at the moment. Not only has that guy planted many moles around us, but there is also a lot of research data that has not been found." Upon hearing this, Zombie immediately said, "What if that guy runs away?" However, he hadn't finished his sentence yet. The president of Stick Club next to him burst into laughter and said, "Impossible." Then he turned around again and said, "Since it was President Zombie who caught the person, I'll take you to see him." Before long, they were flying in a helicopter and arrived at a desolate valley. The president of the Stick Club said, "Dr. Jamin is imprisoned in a facility 3,000 meters underground. Even if we take the elevator down, it will take at least 2.5 hours. As for the security measures, they are needless to say. Not only do they have high-tech weapons, but each level is guarded by skilled presidents. This is the kind of prison it is. Even if Dr. Jamin had 3 heads and 6 arms, he wouldn't be able to escape. Moreover, we've attached a giant detonator to him. If anyone approaches him, the detonator will explode immediately. Anyway, dead or alive, Jamin won't be able to leave this prison for the rest of his life." Upon hearing these words, Zombie broke out in a cold sweat instantly. He thought that human methods were a bit too cruel. Then he turned around and said that he had something to attend to and had to leave. After all, in his original state, Zombie was very close to normal human thinking. Meanwhile, in a certain alley, Vampire Clan Queen saw their conversation. Suddenly, she felt a chill run down her back. Have humans evolved to be this terrifying after 1,000 years? The scene returned to the prison. The president of Stick Club leisurely remarked, "Your little boyfriend is probably going to be in trouble soon. As far as I know, the chief president of Steel Club has informed Inspector Clara that President Zombie is a zombie and has established a city of zombies." Upon hearing this, Zoe was stunned for a moment and then immediately asked why he was telling her all this. The president of the Stick Club said something about zombies, but he showed no interest at all, because in his eyes, only the strong can catch his attention. However, at this moment in the human city, Zombie is still happily wandering the streets, unaware of anything.